Every mother wants to protect her child from the world. To shield them from pain, from heartbreak, from loss. But what if that shield was made of darkness? What if the very love you poured into your child became a poison, warping them into something unnatural? This is not a story about a rebellious son. This is a warning about the monster that can be created when love is no longer a guide, but a chain. In the quiet town of Lagos Sereno, there lived a woman named Makena. Makena was a widow, her heart still carrying the ghost of her husband, Zuberi, a great man who had been taken from her too soon. All that remained of him was their son, Zuberi. And for Makena, Zuberi was not just her son. He was her entire universe. Her love was a smothering blanket. She kept him from playing too rough, from climbing trees, from any boy who might be a bad influence. Her world shrank to the walls of their home, and his world was locked inside with her. She was building a fortress around him, brick by loving brick, never realizing she was sealing them both in a tomb. Years pass. Zuberi is now a handsome young man of 19, but there is a strange stillness to him. He is polite, obedient, but his eyes rarely hold the light of ambition or curiosity. Makena was pleased. Her son was safe. He was hers. But a silent dread began to gnaw at her. Other young men his age were courting, talking of futures in the city, of dreams and loves. Zuberi showed no such interest. When a brave young woman from the market, Adora, smiled at him, he simply looked away, confused. He had no practice with such things. His mother was the only woman he knew. Makena, seeing Adora's interest, feels a spike of irrational jealousy. That night, she goes to a forbidden place, the shrine of a forgotten, earthbound spirit known for binding things together. Desperate to keep her son's heart for herself, she made a plea to the spirits of attachment. She poured palm oil and honey at the base of an ancient, twisted iroko tree, whispering a prayer not for his happiness, but for his eternal bond to her. Let his love for me be the strongest force in his life. Let no other woman ever take root in his heart. As she finishes her plea, the wind stills. The leaves on the tree stop rustling. A deep, unnatural silence falls. She took a small, cold stone from the base of the tree and slipped it into her pocket. She felt a chill, but dismissed it as the night air. She returned home, believing she had secured her son's devotion. But she had not prayed to a benevolent spirit. She had courted the attention of a possessive, hungry force. And it had listened. The next morning, Zuberi seems different. There's a new intensity in his eyes when he looks at his mother. He doesn't just obey her, he anticipates her every need. At first, Makena was thrilled. Her prayer had been answered. But the bond began to tighten. He grew agitated if she spoke too long with another neighbor. He would stand too close, his presence becoming constant, overwhelming. The loving son was becoming a shadow, a reflection of her own smothering love given form. The stone in her pocket felt heavier each day, and colder, like a piece of ice against her thigh. Makena, feeling uneasy, tries to encourage Zuberi to go out with friends. He refuses, his gaze fixed on her. Zuberi, his voice soft but firm, why would I need anyone else, mother? I have you. You are all I need. The words should have been sweet. But they were coated in a strange, absolute finality that made her blood run cold. The fortress she built now had a single, terrifying guard, her own son. The horror escalates. Zuberi begins to finish her sentences. He dreams her dreams. One morning, Makena finds he has arranged her clothes not as she liked, but in an exact, rigid order he had decided was best. When she moved a hairbrush, he moved it back, his smile never wavering. He was no longer just her son. He was becoming her keeper. The spirit's bond was a two-way chain. She had bound him to her, and in doing so, she had bound herself to him. Her love had been twisted into a script, and he was now the director, ensuring they played their parts perfectly. Forever. The climax arrives on a quiet evening. Makena is mending clothes by the lantern light. Zuberi is watching her, his stillness unnerving. He stands and walks over to her, kneeling before her. He takes her hands. His are ice cold. Zuberi said, "Mother, there is something I must tell you." He looks into her eyes, his expression one of serene, absolute conviction. Zuberi said, "I have thought about it, and I understand now. I will never take a wife. I will never leave this house. Other loves are imperfect. They are fleeting. But what we have, it is pure. It is eternal." Makena feels a wave of relief, quickly followed by a sickening dread. "I see it now. You are the only woman I will ever love. And I am the only man you will ever need. We are everything to each other. We are one," he concluded. He leans forward, his intention clear. He is not going to kiss her forehead. He is moving to kiss her on the lips. In that horrifying moment, as her own son moved to confess a love that was not a son's love, Makena saw the truth. The spirit hadn't strengthened a mother-son bond. It had corrupted it. It had taken her selfish prayer and forged it into a demonic pact. She hadn't protected her son. She had created a monster who saw her not as his mother, but as his soulmate. And the monster was now demanding its due. The spell was broken. The grotesque moment of his advance shattered the last illusion. This was not her Zuberi. This was something else wearing his skin, a thing shaped by her own desperate, toxic love and the dark spirit she had invited into their home. Makena said with her voice trembling with terror and revulsion, "Zuberi. No. I am your mother." Zuberi remains kneeling, his head tilted. The serene smile never leaves his face, but it now looks painted on, a mask hiding something ancient and cold. Zuberi replied, "You are. And you are my heart. There is no difference. The stone binds us. It showed me. We are beyond such simple labels." He stood up, and he seemed to tower over her, though he was not a tall man. The air in the room grew thick and heavy, making it hard to breathe. Makena's eyes darted to the small wooden box where she kept the cold, dark stone from the Irako tree. She had to get rid of it. It was the source of this corruption. She made a desperate lunge for the box. But Zuberi was faster. His hand shot out and caught her wrist. His grip was like iron, cold and unyielding. "Zuberi," his whisper now devoid of all warmth, "you cannot unmake us, mother. The bond is sealed. It is in the blood." Panic seized her. This was her creation. This was the final, terrible consequence of her prayer. She had wanted a son who would never leave her, and the spirits had delivered in the most literal, most horrifying way possible. She was trapped in a nightmare of her own design. She knew she had to find a way to break the bond. But how does one fight a demon they have lovingly raised from infancy? Her love had been the key that opened the door. Could her regret be the key to closing it? She remembered an old woman, Mama Ife, who lived deep in the forest, a woman who knew the old ways and was rumored to cleanse places of bad spirits. Getting to her seemed impossible. But desperation is the mother of cunning. Makena feigned illness. She lay in her bed, coughing weakly, complaining of a terrible chill. She asked Zuberi to make her a special, healing soup, listing rare herbs that would take him hours to find deep in the forest. For a moment, he hesitated, his possessive instincts warring with his programmed need to care for her. Finally, the caregiver won. "I will return soon, my love," he said, and the term of endearment felt like a spider crawling on her skin. The moment he was out of sight, Makena, her body trembling with fear and adrenaline, scrambled from her bed. She knew she had only a small window of time. She grabbed the stone from its box. It was so cold it burned her palm. She fled the house, running towards the forest, towards Mama Ife, not knowing if she would find salvation or lead the monster chasing her right to it. She burst into Mama Ife's small, herb-filled hut, gasping for breath, the story tumbling out of her in broken sobs. The old woman listened, her face grim. She took the stone from Makena's hand and hissed, dropping it as if it were white-hot. Mama Ife said, "Foolish child. You have tied your soul to an ikuku, a earthbound, possessive ghost. It has wrapped itself around your son's spirit. To break the bond, you must break the stone. But listen to me, the stone and the bond are one. To break it may break him." "What do you mean?" Makena asked. "The spirit has intertwined itself with his very life force. Severing it could sever him from this world. You must choose, a life trapped in this unnatural bond with the thing he has become, or the risk of losing your son forever to save his soul," Mama Ife replied. The weight of the choice crushed Makena. It was the final, terrible price for her sin. Before she could answer, a shadow fell across the doorway. Zuberi stood there, his chest heaving, his eyes black with a fury that was not human. He had found her. "Zuberi," his voice a guttural roar that shook the hut, "you lied to me. You tried to leave me." He stepped inside, and the air grew cold. The herbs hanging from the rafters began to wither and turn brown. The demon was here. And it was time to pay the price. Makena looked at the creature that was once her son, then at the cold, dark stone on the floor. She had created this. And only she could end it, no matter the cost. There was no more time for deliberation. No more space for regret. The consequence of Makena's prayer stood before her, its eyes black pools of ancient malice. Mama Ife moved with a speed that belied her age, throwing a handful of pungent, powdered herbs into the air. Mama Ife chanting with fierce authority, "Spirit of the rooted earth, you are not welcome here. Release this child. You cannot send me away, old woman. I was invited. I was loved into this world. Her love is my anchor," Zuberi said. He took another step, his hand outstretched not in anger, but in a terrifying, possessive gesture. Makena stared at that hand, the hand she had held when he took his first steps, and she knew what she had to do. She could not fight him. She had to break the chain. Makena, her voice a raw whisper, filled with a grief that shook the very hut, said, "Forgive me, my son. I release you. She wasn't speaking to the Ikuku. She was speaking to Zuberi. To the real Zuberi, trapped somewhere inside. I release you, Zuberi. Go. Be free. You do not belong to me. You never did. Makena said. For a fleeting moment, a flicker of confusion, of pain, crossed Zuberi's face. It was her son's pain. The Ikuku, its anchor in her toxic love, suddenly challenged, recoiled. It was in that moment of confusion that Makena acted. It was the heat of a bond being severed. The heat of a mother's selfish love being burned away in a single, searing instant. The stone cracked in her palm, not with a loud snap, but with a sound like a dying sigh. A wisp of black smoke escaped from the fracture. The unnatural cold vanished. The blackness faded from his eyes, leaving them clear, but utterly broken. He looked up at his mother, and for the first time in years, she saw only him. Not a dutiful son, not a monster. Just Zuberi. And the look in his eyes was one of profound, soul-crushing betrayal. Zuberi, his voice weak, shattered, said, You sent me away. He didn't mean from the hut. He meant from her. From the twisted, all-consuming universe they had shared. He had known nothing else, and now it was gone. The demon was gone. But the damage was done. The bond was broken, but it had taken the very foundation of their relationship with it. She had saved his soul, but she had destroyed his heart. And her own. So, dear viewers, I leave you with this question. Did Makena save her son? Or did she, in the end, simply complete the destruction of their relationship that began with her selfish prayer? Was there any other path for her to take? Let me know what you think in the comments below. This tale is a stark reminder that love, in its purest form, is about setting free, not holding on. When love becomes a chain, it forges a prison for both the keeper and the kept. And sometimes, the key to that prison is the most painful thing a person can ever do, to let go. Don't forget to subscribe and hit the bell for more morally complex tales from the Safari of Tales. Until next time, remember, love should be a sanctuary, not a cage. Love that seeks to possess and control does not protect, it corrupts, and ultimately destroys the very thing it seeks to keep.